They were all sitting silently at the kitchen table, waiting for me. It was strange, really. The night before, they couldn't stop laughing. Even my son, who should have known better, had chuckled behind his hand when little Emily wrinkled her nose at me and said, "Grandpa's just a nobody." She didn't mean malice. Children rarely do, but their laughter had cut deeper than I let on. I'd excused myself, claimed I was tired, and retreated to my workshop behind the house, a place none of them ever bothered to visit. This morning, though, I knew something was off the moment I opened the back door. The house was too quiet. Normally, the television blared and my daughter-in-law clanged pans while complaining about something trivial. Now, the only sound was the slow, nervous tapping of my son's fingertips on the table. And all their eyes were on me. Emily, too, wide, expectant. "Dad," my son said carefully, "we need to talk." I hung my coat on the hook. "You all look like you've seen a ghost." "Not a ghost," my daughter-in-law whispered, "something worse." Emily slid off her chair, walked up to me, and placed something cold and metallic in my hand. My dog tag. I hadn't worn it in decades. "Grandpa," she whispered, "are you really him?" I closed my fist over the tag. The edges were worn smooth by time, by deserts older than civilization and jungles that swallowed sound. "I'm lots of people, sweetheart. Which one do you mean?" My son swallowed hard. "We found the newspaper articles, the files, the medals, all of it." "Ah, so they..." Opened the locked trunk beneath my workbench, the one I told them never to touch. I should have put a stronger lock on it. My daughter-in-law's voice trembled. "Why didn't you tell us you were some kind of legend?" I pulled out a chair and sat, easing my stiff knees. "Because legends don't grow tomatoes or put grandkids to bed. They don't make good husbands or fathers. They die young, or they get old wishing they had." "But Grandpa," Emily said, crawling into my lap despite last night's insult, "you saved those people. You stopped the bad guys. You did all those things in the stories." "I did my job," I corrected softly, "same as any other man who wore a uniform." My son shook his head. "Dad, you weren't some regular soldier. These reports, missions that were sealed for decades. You survived things no one else did." I looked past him out the window, where the morning sun edged over my garden beds. Rows of carrots, tomatoes, and beans, nothing extraordinary, just life, simple and honest. "That was another lifetime," I said. "A man can only carry so many ghosts before he sets the pack down." Emily's eyes shone. "But why didn't you tell us?" I smiled gently. "Because I didn't want you to look at me the way you're looking at me now." "Like we are scared," my daughter-in-law whispered. "Like you don't know who I am," I said. Silence settled over the table like dust. Then my son cleared his throat. "Dad, there's more." Of course there was. "You weren't the only one mentioned in those files." He slid a folder toward me. "They say someone from your past went missing last week. Someone dangerous. Someone who'd only ever been seen with." "With me," I finished. The air thickened. Memories I'd buried under decades of soil began clawing their way up. "His name was Victor," I said quietly. "We served together once, fought together, then we didn't." "He's looking for you," my son said. "The report says he." A sharp knock at the front door froze us all. 3 knocks, slow, deliberate, like someone marking time. I stood. "Dad," my son began. I held up a hand. "Stay here, all of you." My joints ached as I crossed the room, but my mind snapped into an old rhythm, one I'd sworn I'd never need again. The creak of the floorboards, the weight of my footsteps, the shift in my breathing, it all came back like muscle memory rising from the grave. I opened the door. But it wasn't Victor. It was a small envelope taped to the wood. No sender, no stamp, just my name written in an old, familiar hand. I removed it, closed the door carefully, and returned to the table. My family stared as I opened the envelope. Inside was a single photograph, taken decades ago in a place that no longer existed, of two young men standing shoulder to shoulder in uniforms that hadn't been worn since the world was different. Under it, a message scrawled in ink. "Found you." My daughter-in-law gasped, my son cursed, Emily clung tighter to my shirt. I exhaled slowly. "So," I murmured, "the past has finally caught up." "What does he want?" my son asked. "Probably what anyone wants who crawls out of the dark after 30 years, I said. "Closure, revenge, maybe both." My family stared at me, no laughter now, no easy dismissal, only fear tangled with something else. "Respect." "Grandpa," Emily whispered, "are we in danger?" I cupped her cheek. "Not while I'm still breathing." The room stayed silent a while longer, as if waiting for the world to shift back into something recognizable. But it wouldn't, it couldn't. Finally, my son spoke. "What do we do now?" I pushed myself to my feet. My knees protested, but my resolve hardened. "You all go about your day, pretend nothing happened." "And you?" he asked. I reached for the old coat I hadn't worn since the night I locked that trunk. "Me," I said, slipping it on. The fabric felt heavier than it should. "I'm going to make a phone call, and then I'm going to finish what should have ended a long time ago." Emily grabbed my hand. "Grandpa." I knelt, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "Sweetheart, last night you called me a nobody." Her lip quivered. "I'm sorry." "I know," I smiled, "but I need you to understand something." She blinked up at me. "What?" I squeezed her tiny hand gently. "Nobody is exactly what I wanted to be." I straightened, opened the door again, and stepped out into the cold morning air. Behind me, the house stayed quiet. Ahead of me, the past waited, with a message, an old promise, and unfinished business. And for the first time in decades, I walked toward it.